Good morning. In a world full of masks, how do we see someone's true face? People often change when the lights are on, when the stage is set, when the world is watching. But if you truly want to know who someone is at their core, there are 5 simple things to observe. When life is comfortable, when everything is going according to plan, it is easy to wear a mask of politeness, patience, and virtue. People often project the best versions of themselves when they are not under pressure, when they have time to think about their responses, and when the circumstances around them are favorable. However, it is in moments of struggle, pain, and uncertainty that a person's true nature is revealed. Adversity strips away the pretense. It does not give a person the luxury of carefully crafting their responses or filtering their emotions. When someone faces failure, rejection, or loss, their immediate reaction tells you who they really are. Do they lash out in anger, blame others, or sink into self-pity? Or do they remain composed, take responsibility, and look for solutions? The way someone responds when things do not go their way is one of the most accurate indicators of their character. Difficult situations test patience, resilience, and emotional strength. A person who is kind and understanding when life is easy may reveal a very different side when faced with stress, disappointment, or hardship. Some may crumble under pressure, resorting to dishonesty or manipulation to escape difficulty, while others remain steadfast, holding on to their integrity despite the challenges. Strength of character is not measured by words spoken in times of comfort, but by the choices made when faced with struggle. Adversity also reveals whether a person is capable of empathy. When dealing with their own struggles, do they still find it within themselves to be kind to others, or do they become consumed by their own problems, disregarding the emotions of those around them? Some people become bitter, treating others harshly simply because they are going through a tough time, while others remain considerate, refusing to let hardship change their core nature. It is also worth noticing how a person treats those who stand by them during difficult times. Do they appreciate the support, or do they push people away in frustration? Do they use others as an emotional dumping ground, or do they respect the presence and efforts of those who try to help? Many people claim to value relationships, but their actions in moments of adversity show whether they genuinely care or simply see others as convenient when things are going well. A person's reaction to failure is particularly telling. Some see failure as a reason to quit, to blame the world, or to become resentful. Others use it as a learning experience, taking responsibility and growing stronger. The ability to accept failure with humility, learn from it, and move forward without resentment is a sign of true care. Even in the smallest moments of difficulty, getting stuck in traffic, dealing with an unexpected inconvenience, or being told no, people reveal more about themselves than they realize. If someone loses their temper over minor setbacks, it is likely they struggle to handle bigger challenges with grace. If someone treats others poorly in moments of frustration, it shows a lack of emotional control. It is in these everyday struggles that the truth about someone's patience, maturity, and kindness comes to light. Give a person power, and you will see their true nature unfold. Power has an extraordinary way of amplifying a person's deepest traits, whether good or bad. When someone has control over others, whether through a leadership position, wealth, or influence, the way they handle that power tells you everything about who they really are. Some rise with humility, understanding that power is a responsibility, while others let it consume them, treating those beneath them with arrogance and disregard. There is a certain illusion people maintain when they do not have power. When they are on equal footing with others, they often behave with kindness and respect because they have no choice but to coexist. However, the moment they gain authority, the way they treat those who can do nothing for them becomes a window into their soul. A person who was once friendly and approachable may suddenly become dismissive, impatient, or even cruel. When placed in a position of superiority, power does not corrupt as much as it reveals. What was already within them simply rises to the surface. One of the most telling aspects of character is how a person treats those they have control over. Do they use their power to uplift others, to guide them, to make their lives better? Or do they use it to dominate, to belittle, to impose their will? Many people believe they are fair and just until they are given authority over someone who has no choice but to listen to them. This is where their true nature emerges. A kind leader remains kind even when no one can challenge them. A fair leader remains fair even when they have absolute control. But those who merely pretended to be virtuous will show their real face the moment they hold the reins. Power is a test that few pass. It is intoxicating, offering the ability to shape the world around oneself, to make decisions without consequence, and to command respect. But true respect is never demanded, it is earned. Those who misuse power to enforce obedience may receive compliance, but they will never have loyalty. People may fear them, but they will not trust them. On the other hand, those who wield power with wisdom and humility inspire devotion. They do not need to remind others of their authority because their actions speak for themselves. It is also important to observe how a person behaves when they have something to gain from someone in power versus when they have nothing to gain. Some people treat their superiors with excessive politeness, showing admiration and agreement, while treating subordinates with coldness or indifference. This contrast reveals a great deal. It is easy to be respectful to those who hold influence over one's life. But the real test is how one behaves toward those who hold no such power. A person who is only kind when it benefits them is not truly kind. They are simply calculating. The ability to remain humble in a position of authority is rare. Many forget where they came from the moment they step into power. They distance themselves from the struggles they once faced, becoming blind to the hardships of others. Instead of using their influence to bring about fairness, they become consumed by the privilege it offers. But there are also those who never let power change them, who remain grounded, who understand that leadership is not about dominance, but about service. These individuals are rare, but they are the ones who leave behind a legacy of respect rather than resentment. One of the most revealing aspects of a person's character is how they react to the success of others. It is easy to celebrate personal victories, to feel joy when life rewards our own efforts. But when someone else rises, when someone else achieves what we desire, that is when true character is tested. Do they genuinely celebrate the success of others? Or do they feel resentment? Do they offer congratulations with sincerity? Or do they mask envy behind forced smiles? A person's response to another's achievement is a mirror reflecting their inner world, either one of abundance and confidence or one of insecurity and competition. Many people can appear supportive when they do not feel personally threatened, but when someone they know gets the promotion they wanted, achieves a goal they struggle to reach, or receives recognition they crave, their reaction speaks volumes. Some may outwardly celebrate while secretly hoping for failure. Others may dismiss the success, belittling the accomplishment by attributing it to luck, favoritism, or unfair advantage. Instead of acknowledging someone's hard work, they seek to discredit it to soothe their own insecurities. This subtle form of resentment is more common than people admit and reveals a lack of self-assurance. A secure person, one who is confident in their own journey, does not feel diminished by another's success. They understand that another person's achievements do not take away from their own potential. Instead of comparing, they feel inspired. They see success as proof that great things are possible, rather than as a reminder of their own perceived shortcomings. They do not measure their worth against others but focus on their own growth. These are the people who genuinely uplift those around them, offering encouragement, support, and even assistance when others strive for greatness. The other hand, those who struggle with jealousy often sabotage relationships, sometimes without realizing it. Instead of being happy for a friend, a colleague, or a family member, they begin to distance themselves, making passive-aggressive comments or withdrawing their support. They may downplay the achievement, saying things like, "It's not a big deal," or "anyone could have done that." Some even resort to gossip, trying to undermine the other person's credibility rather than confronting their own feelings of inadequacy. This behavior does not go unnoticed, and over time, it creates an environment of distrust and negativity. The way a person reacts to others' success also determines their own potential for growth. Those who celebrate others and learn from their achievements often find doors opening for themselves. They develop a mindset of abundance, understanding that success is not a limited resource. Instead of competing, they collaborate. Instead of feeling threatened, they seek to grow. They attract opportunities because they support others wholeheartedly, knowing that in lifting others they too rise. Conversely, those who allow envy to take root often limit their own progress. When someone is too focused on resenting another's success, they waste energy that could be used to improve themselves. Instead of asking, "How can I also succeed?" they ask, "Why them and not me?" This mindset keeps them stuck, preventing them from seeing opportunities for their own advancement. Instead of learning from those who have achieved what they desire, they push them away, missing the chance to gain insight, wisdom, and motivation. Some people only celebrate success when it is distant, when it belongs to celebrities, public figures, or those they do not personally know. But when someone close to them succeeds, someone who comes from the same background, the same struggles, the same starting point, it becomes a different story. Their reaction in these moments is the truest test of character. Do they see this? Success as proof that they too can achieve great things, or do they view it as an unfair comparison, feeling left behind rather than motivated? In friendships, in families, in workplaces, and in communities, the ability to celebrate others without jealousy is rare but invaluable. It builds trust, strengthens relationships, and creates an environment where everyone thrives. The person who can truly rejoice in another's achievements without hesitation or hidden resentment is someone who possesses a rare depth of character, one that is rooted in confidence, generosity, and a genuine appreciation for the success of others. The true measure of a person's character is found in what they do when no one is around to see. When there is no audience to impress, no rewards to earn, and no consequences to fear, many people cultivate an image of integrity, kindness, and discipline when others are watching. But the moment they are left alone, their real nature emerges. What a person does in private, when there is no need for pretense, reveals who they truly are. In public, people are often on their best behavior, conscious of how they are perceived by family, friends, colleagues, or society. They carefully choose their words, maintain politeness, and uphold an image that aligns with how they want to be seen. But when the lights are off, when they believe no one will ever know, their choices become a direct reflection of their character. Do they uphold their principles even when there is no one to hold them accountable? Or do they abandon their values the moment external pressure disappears? Integrity is not about what a person says they believe in, but what they practice in the quiet moments of life. A person who preaches honesty but bends the truth when there are no consequences is not truly honest. A person who speaks about kindness but treats people with indifference when there is nothing to gain is not truly kind. A person who appears disciplined in public but lives recklessly in private does not truly value discipline. The habits formed in solitude eventually shape the person's reality, influencing how they behave even when they believe they have control over their image. Some of the most revealing moments of character are found in the small, seemingly insignificant actions. Does someone return the extra change they received by mistake, even when no one would notice if they kept it? Do they clean up after themselves, in a public space even when no one is watching? Do they show kindness to those who have no power simply because it is the right thing to do? These small decisions, often overlooked, are the foundation of who a person truly is. The way a person treats responsibilities when no one is holding them accountable is another powerful indicator of character. If they promise themselves they will wake up early to pursue their goals, do they keep that promise when no one else is around to see? If they commit to a task, do they give it their full effort, even when there is no immediate reward or recognition? True discipline and dedication are not about proving something to others. They are about honoring commitments even in solitude. The person who respects their time, energy, and purpose in private is the one who achieves great things in public. How someone speaks when they believe no one will hear them is also telling. Do they speak with the same kindness and respect in private conversations as they do in public? Or do they engage in gossip, insults, or cruelty when they think their words will not come back to them. Many people wear a mask of politeness in front of others but reveal a different side when they feel safe from judgment. A person's real thoughts, real values, and real beliefs come out in their unfiltered moments. Temptation is another test of character. When no one is watching, when given the opportunity to take a shortcut, to break a rule, to deceive without getting caught, does a person still choose to do the right thing? The strength of a person's morality is not determined by fear of punishment, but by their internal compass. If they avoid wrongdoing only because they are afraid of getting caught, then their sense of integrity is weak. But if they choose to do what is right simply because they know it is right, even when no one will ever know, then their integrity is strong and unshakable. The difference between a person's public self and their private self determines the depth of their authenticity. When someone's actions align, regardless of whether they are in front of a crowd or completely alone, they are truly genuine. When their kindness, honesty, and discipline remain unchanged in both seen and unseen moments, they are someone who can be trusted. But when there is a stark contrast between who they pretend to be and who they are when no one is watching, their character is built on illusion, and sooner or later, that illusion crumbles. The way a person treats those who hold no power over them is one of the greatest indicators of their true character. It is easy to be kind and respectful toward those who can offer something in return, whether it is status, wealth, influence, or personal gain. But when there is no expectation of a reward, no pressure to impress, and no consequences for behaving poorly, a person's real nature emerges. How they treat those who are considered below them in status, authority, or influence tells you everything you need to know about who they really are. Many people put on a mask of politeness and charm when dealing with those they consider important. They speak with respect to their superiors, show warmth toward those who can help them, and present themselves as decent individuals when their reputation is on the line. However, their behavior toward waiters, cleaners, security guards, drivers, or anyone in a lower position often tells a very different story. If a person is kind only when there is an audience or when they stand to benefit, then their kindness is not genuine. It is merely a tool of convenience. True kindness is measured not by how one treats those above them, but by how one treats those who have nothing to offer in return. When someone interacts with a service worker, do they say please and thank you? Do they acknowledge their presence, or do they act as if the person is invisible? Do they look down on those who are struggling, or do they show them the same level of respect they would show a powerful figure? The smallest moments, how someone speaks to a cashier, how they react when a janitor walks by, how they treat an assistant, reveal their inner nature more than any grand gesture of generosity ever. Could power and privilege have a way of distorting people's perception of themselves? Some believe that their position, wealth, or achievements make them superior to others, forgetting that circumstances can change at any moment. A person who mistreats a subordinate today may find themselves in a position of need tomorrow. Life has a way of humbling those who believe they will always be on top. But even beyond karma or consequence, the essence of true character is understanding that no human being is inherently above or below another. Status is temporary, but dignity is eternal. A strong person, a wise person, does not need to assert dominance over others to feel important. They do not belittle, humiliate, or ignore those who are socially or professionally beneath them. Instead, they uplift, encourage, and treat every individual with dignity. This does not mean they allow themselves to be taken advantage of, but they do not use power as a weapon against the powerless. They recognize that respect is not something to be selectively distributed. It is something that should be given to all, regardless of position or title. One of the greatest tests of character comes in moments of frustration. When someone is angry, stressed, or in a hurry, how do they treat those in a weaker position? Do they lash out at a receptionist for a delay? Do they insult a delivery worker for making a mistake? Or do they remain patient, understanding that every person is doing their best within their circumstances? A person who loses their temper at those who cannot fight back is not strong. They are weak. Strength is shown in self-control, in the ability to remain kind even when it is not easy. Another revealing aspect of character is whether a person acknowledges the efforts of those below them. Do they give credit to the hardworking employees behind the scenes? Do they recognize the contributions of those who do jobs that are often overlooked? A true leader, a true human being of integrity, does not take all the credit for success while dismissing the work of those who helped build it. They express gratitude, they uplift, and they understand that success is never achieved alone. The way someone treats their subordinates, employees, or those in service roles extends to how they treat vulnerable individuals in general. Do they show compassion toward the elderly, the disabled, or the less fortunate? Do they offer a helping hand without expecting recognition? Or do they ignore, dismiss, or judge those who are struggling? How someone treats those in moments of vulnerability, whether it is a struggling worker, a homeless individual, or a person going through a tough time, exposes the depth of their humanity. When someone has power, status, or privilege, they face a choice to use it to elevate others or to use it to feed their own ego. The choice they make in those moments is not only a reflection of their values, but a lasting testament to who they truly are. A person's true character is not revealed in their words or their intentions, but in the choices they make when faced with difficult decisions. It is easy to talk about values, to claim integrity, and to speak of principles when there is no challenge in doing so. But when life presents a situation that demands a real choice, one that comes with consequences, risks, or personal sacrifice, that is when a person's true nature comes to the surface. Every day, people are faced with choices, both big and small, that test their morality, strength, and authenticity. Some decisions are simple and require little thought, but others force a person to confront who they really are. Will they choose honesty when lying would be easier? Will they choose kindness when cruelty would be more satisfying? Will they stand up for what is right, even when it comes at a cost? Or will they take the easy road, the selfish road, the path of least resistance? It is in these moments of choice that a person's character is laid bare. When given the opportunity to take advantage of a situation, do they resist temptation, or do they give in? If they find a lost wallet full of money with no one around, do they return it or do they keep it? If they see someone being mistreated, do they step in or do they look away? These decisions, seemingly small in the grand scheme of life, are the building blocks of who a person truly is. One of the greatest tests of character comes when a person must choose between their own comfort and doing what is right. Many people claim to support justice, fairness, and truth until standing up for those things comes with personal consequences. When speaking out might cost them their job, their friendships, or their social status, do they still have the courage to do it? Or do they remain silent, pretending they see nothing? It is easy to claim to be a good person when that claim requires nothing. But when goodness demands sacrifice, the difference between those who only talk about values and those who live by them becomes painfully clear. There are also moments in life when a person must choose between their ego and their humility. When they are proven wrong, do they admit their mistake, or do they cling to their pride? When they are given power, do they use it to uplift others, or do they use it to serve themselves? When they face criticism, do they reflect and grow, or do they become defensive and lash out? Every one of these choices shapes a person's character. Some will always choose their own comfort over growth, their own pride over truth. Others will take the harder road, the road of humility and self-awareness, no matter how difficult it may be. The way a person makes choices in relationships is another clear indicator of who they are. When given the opportunity to be faithful, do they remain loyal, or do they betray trust in secret? When facing conflict, do they seek resolution with understanding, or do they act out of anger and spite? When a friend or loved one needs support, do they offer it selflessly, or do they turn away because it is inconvenient? The small decisions made in relationships, whether to be honest or deceptive, kind or cruel, patient or dismissive, create the foundation of a person's true nature. Even when no one is watching, a person's choices matter. Some believe that their decisions in private have no impact on who they are, but every choice a person makes, whether seen by the world or known only to them, shapes their character. A person who regularly chooses dishonesty, selfishness, or cruelty in secret will eventually reveal those traits in public. No one can hide who they truly are forever. And then there are the moments when a person's choice will define them for years to come. These are the moments that demand courage, strength, and conviction. When everything is on the line, when they must choose between doing what is right and doing what is easy, when they must decide whether to act according to their values or betray them for personal gain, these are the moments that separate those with real integrity from those who only pretend to have it. In the end, a person's true character is not determined by their words, their reputation, or the image they project to the world. It is revealed through their actions in the moments that truly matter. It is seen in how they handle adversity, in the way they use power and authority, in how they respond to the success of others, and in what they do when no one is watching. It is exposed in the way they treat those who hold no power over them, and in the choices they make when faced with moral dilemmas. No mask can be worn forever. Sooner or later, the truth of who someone is will surface, not in grand gestures but in the small, consistent patterns of behavior that define their everyday life. It is not in moments of comfort and ease that character is shaped, but in times of challenge, temptation, and decision. The way a person acts when tested, when given power, when placed in a position of choice. This is what reveals the depth of their integrity. A person of true character does not shift their values based on convenience. They do not act out of fear, self-interest, or the need for validation. Instead, they stand firm in their principles. Regardless of who is watching or what is at stake, they remain kind, even when kindness is not rewarded, honest, even when dishonesty would be easier, and just, even when justice comes at a cost. At the end of the day, character is not something that can be faked. It is something that is lived, and those who walk through life with integrity, humility, and authenticity will leave behind not just an image but a legacy that speaks for itself.